Welcome back to the Crash Bandicoot Marathon. Today it is time to look at Crash Bandicoot Warped, the third game in the Crash trilogy. This one I have played before and I'm excited about it. So let's get into it. Bye!
Spoiler alert! This is the best game in the franchise. Some of you may be saying, but TCSGaming, I like Crash 2 more. Well, you're wrong, so shut up. Crash 3 came out about a year after Crash 2 and sold just as well with over 7 million copies worldwide. By the way, all these games came out in a 3-year span. Anyways, let's get into the game starting with the plot. Crash 3 is the most story-heavy in the bunch, but that still isn't saying much for these plots. Cortex crashes down from space again, but this time he crashes into an ancient temple releasing an evil mask, Uka Uka. Aku Aku, who is all of a sudden a character, hears ominous laughter and knows that Uka Uka has escaped. It turns out that Uka Uka has been behind all of Cortex's schemes. Because retconning. It's almost as if these games weren't meant to have a timeline between them. I'm sorry, I put Sonic jokes in the other two videos, so I just had to put one in here for consistency. Cortex, Uka Uka, and the rest of his henchmen decide to use a time warp machine created by the new villain N-Trophy to collect crystals from across time. N-Trophy, despite being introduced in this way, is just a normal boss. In retaliation, Aku Aku puts Crash and Coco to the task as well. Throughout the game, the characters will contact you like in Crash 2. This time, the boss characters will talk to Crash before you fight them, which I always found cool and the right way to make a boss seem threatening. At the end of the game, Crash defeats Cortex and Uka Uka just like normal. The reason I said this game has more story is just because of the boss interactions. Other than that, it's the same exact plot as the first two games. On to gameplay. Crash 3 takes everything good from Crash 2 and makes even more improvements on what was already good about the series, while also fixing some of the problems. The control, which was a huge difference from Crash 1 to 2, has remained relatively the same in Crash 3. The only big change is that Crash 3 enables analog control on all versions of the game. Thanks, Crash 3! Other than that, though, control is about the same. I prefer using the analog stick in 3D sections, but in 2D sections the arrow buttons are the way to go, since 2D sections in Crash games are fully 3D functioning, and you can easily fall off and die with the analog sticks. Level design has gained the biggest improvement from Crash 2. In fact, this game completely thrashes the first two games. The time travel idea made it so that the developers could really go all out with the level design and settings. You have everything from medieval times, underwater levels, Arabian levels, even prehistoric times. It's really refreshing to have some changes after the first two games. Crash 3 brings in new stuff regarding gameplay as well. One of these are the brand new power-ups. Up to this point, Crash was pretty much run, jump, slide, and spin. But Crash 3 introduces 5 new abilities for Crash. There's the Super Belly Flop, the Double Jump, the Death Tornado Spin, the Fruit Bazooka, and the Crash Dash. The Super Belly Flop just increases the belly flop's range and is not really used that often. The Double Jump is pretty self-explanatory. The Death Tornado Spin is the best ability you get. When you jump and spin in midair, Crash will continuously spin and gain more airtime. Fruit Bazooka is a Fruit Bazooka. That's what it is. No more explanation needed. The Crash Dash is used for getting relics and is only available after you beat the game. Now, I have to gush about this game's superb design real quick. Level 16, Sphinxinator, great name by the way, has a branching path. Now, while I dislike branching paths in Crash games, that's not really the point. One path seemingly has no way across because the gap seems too wide. But you just got the Death Tornado Spin, so why not test it out? Combine it with a slide jump, double jump, and boom, across the pit you go. No tutorial, it isn't necessary. You see, the way the level is designed is the reason why this works. There's no enemies impeding your progress here, so you can check out this pathway without being disturbed. Another time where this game is amazing is the level Gone Tomorrow. It has a lot of tough enemies and hard to acquire boxes. When you first play this level you might be thinking, this is pretty hard. But then you remember, Fruit Bazooka. Take out the enemies from a distance in the beginning, and then you'll get to this part where you see a bunch of invisible boxes. When you look around, you might not see them right away, but a closer look will help with that. An exclamation box sits across the way. But you don't need to bother running over to it, because you can just shoot the boxes too. You will naturally test it out from a distance since you just learned how to use the Fruit Bazooka. Once you realize I can trigger boxes, these boxes that seem impossible to hit aren't because you can just shoot them. Once again, no tutorial needed, just incredible game design. Crash 3 also brings in some new gameplay styles. The animal riding levels make a return as well as the new flying, jet skiing, and underwater levels. Flying levels consist of shooting things down. It's as simple as that, but they are really fun. The underwater levels are fun too. Crash controls well and the environments are some of the most beautiful in the game. The jet ski levels are also a good time, but going for the box gem in these levels can definitely interrupt the pace of gameplay. In one of the prehistoric levels, Crash can ride a baby dinosaur. It's pretty fun, but I don't really understand the point if it's only in one level. Now, I want to address the motorcycle levels. In most reviews of this game that I've seen, people always say that these are the worst parts of the game. And I couldn't disagree more. If anything is the worst part of the game, it's not the racing levels, although to me there isn't much about this game that I don't like. I love these motorcycle levels. Maybe that's because I like racing games a lot, but I think these levels are super solid. Control is usually the main complaint, but I really didn't have much of a problem with it. If there was any complaint, it would be the unavoidable bottomless pits. They put ramps over these, but if any other driver's in your way, then you are falling into that pit. The only way I could see these levels being a problem is when you're going for the relics, which I haven't tried to do yet. Speaking of relics, and other collectibles for that matter, crystals and gems make their return. The gem system remains basically the same, the only difference is you can now see how many boxes you need while you are playing the level. I did find, however, that Crash 3 takes a little more thought than Crash 2 when going for the box gems. I found in Crash 2 that I could get most of the gems just from playing the level normally. Crash 3 has more of a puzzle vibe with some of these boxes, especially in bonus stages. Like here, where now it's clear to me that I need to jump on these boxes before hitting this exclamation box here, but I'm rushing through the level so I don't see that and mess up. I could die and retry the bonus stage, but I'm too stubborn to do that too. I mean, in my defense, who wants to wait on the bonus stage platform? It takes like 5 whole seconds. Secrets and color gems also make a return as well as death routes, but there are much less of those. There's not as many secrets, but they are there. But I didn't record any of them because I'm bad. Nah, but for real, I'll be talking about this stuff more when I try to 100% the game in N-Sane Trilogy. New to the collectible lineup are the relics. These function as time trials in the stages. There are 3 different types of relics depending on how fast you complete the stages. Sapphire are the easiest and unlock new stages for every 5 you collect. Then there is the gold, which only function as a way to get 1 extra gem from Coco if you collect them all. And then the spawn of Satan themselves, the platinum relics, which as far as I know have absolutely no function at all. Sapphire relics are normally pretty easy as long as you play the levels without dying. The gold ones are tougher and require extensive knowledge of the stage to complete, but the platinum relics are nearly impossible. The gold relics already test your skills, but the platinum relics need knowledge of every part of the stage, every jump, every box, every shortcut, and even then you still may not get them. I might try for some when N-Sane Trilogy comes out, but I really don't feel the need unless you really like these games. Another big improvement are the boss fights. They're actually interesting this time around, and most of them change throughout the fight. Tiny is probably the weakest boss, but not bad for the first boss. Dingodile is challenging and fun. He doesn't really have much of a pattern for his attacks, so quick reflexes are key. And Trophy is solid. Each time you hit him, he'll throw more laser thingies at you and make the platform smaller and smaller. Engine in this game is probably the best fight in the series. It's all about flying, shooting, accuracy, and quick reactions, and it has 2 awesome phases. Then there's Cortex and Uka Uka, and I mean, can Cortex get a decent boss fight? Once again, a whole lot to be desired for a final boss. Uka Uka and Aku Aku just kinda do their own thing, but you still have to watch out for them, especially in Phase 2. I just can't like this boss fight because of the randomness. When Cortex throws these bombs, there's no markers on the ground so that you can see where he's throwing them, so you're bound to catch one in the head. And in Phase 2, when Uka Uka and Aku Aku start spinning around, the game doesn't give you enough screen room to see them coming, so you just have to hope that you're in the right spot. Anyways, that's it for gameplay. On to presentation. God damn, this game is sexy. Every color, every setting, every environment, they nailed the aesthetic of Crash 3. It trumps Crash 2 by 10 miles, and I like the way Crash 2 looked. However, on the flip side, Crash 2 beats it in the music department. That's not to say that Crash 3's music isn't great, because it is. They really nailed the regional sound from all of these stage songs, and it makes for a great experience.
Anyways guys, that's the Crash trilogy. I'll tell you what, there might not be a better platforming trilogy out there. Crash just nailed the 3D platformer. For Crash N-Sane Trilogy, I will be trying to go for 100%, but it all depends on how much time I have. So tune in next time for the final video of the Crash Bandicoot Marathon, where I will tackle the return of the orange marsupial. See you guys next time. Peace.